What does it mean for you to actively and publicly live your faith in community with others in society?
I think for me to live my faith actively and publicly in my community begins with kind of the beginnings of my own faith, which started in a family with my parents raising me. We went to church on Sundays together. We prayed the rosary as a family, went to Catholic schools. But it really extended when I went off to university and was on my own. And, out and present in the realm of various ideas and trying to really figure out what was I going to do with my life, what was my life all about. And it was in that space, in a community of people, actually peers, friends at university, that they introduced me to a much deeper and a more personal experience of faith in my life. And as I encountered this real commitment of faith, what I found was that it allowed me to offer even more of myself to the world. It allowed me to be involved in the different activities of campus, in my academics, in my studies. It created a worldview and for me, a way of looking at the world that allowed me to offer all of who I am, all the different aspects of my gifts, my strengths, my intellectual life, my social life, and my spiritual life to all that I did.
How has your faith shaped and inspired your professional and public life?
When I think about how my faith has shaped my professional life and my public life, it brings me back to where I was raised in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and the high school that I attended was Vanier Collegiate, named after Governor General George Vanier. Written on the gymnasium wall was a quotation from him that read, "Tell me the character of a nation's young people, and I will tell you the future of the nation." That's always been a deep and profound insight for me, because I've reflected for myself, first of all, how am I growing in character? How am I growing in a life of integrity, of virtue, of practicing my faith, but also my service and my approach to life in a way that is benefiting others and really living out a strong character amongst my peers.
In your experience, why is it important that expressions of religious faith be present in the public life of Canada?
I think another reason that it's important for religious expressions to be present in public life is just to look at the history of our nation, the history of Canada. When we look back over these 150 years that we're going to be celebrating in 2017, I think what we see are men and women of religious faith. We see the founders of our nation, we see the builders of our nation, we see leaders in public spheres, but also in personal spheres, in families and all different areas, who were men and women of faith, who found motivation to help build a better country because of their religious convictions, because they felt that life was more than just meant to be for them, but it was meant to be for others and for God. One of the areas I think that might be overlooked or perhaps sometimes forgotten is in the area of family life. Really families form the bedrock of our public life. Our whole society is built on the life of the family. Future generations are built on the life of the family. When I think about the dynamics of family life, I think about some of the challenges that we've faced in family life. Difficulties, disappointments, sadnesses, conflict. And I think faith plays an important role in strengthening the family.
How can your experience of living your faith in the public square offer inspiration to young Canadians seeking to do the same?
Well, I think there are many young Canadians that would find themselves potentially where I was a number of years ago, stepping foot onto a university campus. I left home and I was beginning university, and I had a lot of questions about my own life, questions about my direction in life, but also bigger questions about the meaning of life, the origins of life, all of these things. There's a lot of questions that I have, and I think that young Canadians encounter a lot of these questions. What are these meanings of life? How can we find meaning in our own lives? And so I would encourage young Canadians to ask questions and to seek the truth, to look to find the answers to these important questions. And secondly, in exploring those questions, I think one Sometimes they say that the journey is just as important as the destination. And so this journey of faith, growing in faith, it's not just a destination that we go and arrive at and we're finished. It's really a journey, and having companions along that journey, the friendships, the experiences we have, those that we are able to reach out to care for, those people with whom our lives will have an impact and who we can add value to, whom we can help, whom we can encounter, and not only changes our lives but changes others.